My autistic sister is causing my mom to become ill via stress. I can't do it anymore. In a modest home on a quiet street, life was far from the serene exterior it portrayed. Behind the closed doors, a storm raged, one that left the inhabitants broken and exhausted. My name is Alex, and I'm 25 years old. This is the story of my family's struggle with my high-functioning but deeply troubled little sister, Emily. Emily was 17, on the cusp of adulthood, but she wielded her youth like a weapon. For years, we had tried to talk to her, to reason with her, but it was like shouting into the void. Nothing we said ever seemed to penetrate the wall she had built around herself. She simply didn't care about the pain she caused. Our mother, a kind-hearted woman of 44, was the primary target of Emily's wrath. Mom was already going through a brutal divorce, forced to sell our family home and move in with me and our grandmother. The upheaval was too much for her, and Emily's constant screaming matches only made things worse. Mom would often end up vomiting and crying from the sheer stress of it all. My grandmother, nearly 69 and now battling COVID-19, had also become a victim of Emily's cruelty. Emily would make morbid jokes about Grandma not recovering and whine about how her social life was being affected by the illness. One night, Grandma asked Emily to turn off the TV at 4 a.m. Emily responded by screaming in her face, reducing her to tears. The sight of my grandmother, who had done so much for us, sobbing broke something inside me. Emily's behavior wasn't a recent development. It had been going on for years. She had always been manipulative and aggressive. When we were younger, she would lie about me to our extended family, saying I wouldn't feed her or that I beat her. Her lies caused many in our family to judge me harshly. She even went as far as physically attacking me and my friends, targeting us in the most painful ways. Each time, her actions were dismissed with excuses that she didn't know better. One incident that stands out was when she barged into the bathroom while I was showering. Instead of reprimanding her, I was asked why I didn't cover up quickly enough. It was always like this. She was never held accountable, and I was always the one blamed. Most recently, Emily's cruelty extended to our Chihuahua. She would toss the poor dog up in the air and catch her, treating her like a toy. The sheer terror in the dog's eyes was unbearable to watch. Despite our pleas for her to stop, she continued, seemingly enjoying the distress it caused. As Emily's 18th birthday approached, I couldn't help but worry about our future. My mother didn't deserve to live in constant fear and stress, and neither did I. I was reaching my breaking point. The stress was eating away at me, threatening to give me ulcers. I often cried myself to sleep, feeling helpless and trapped. The turning point came one evening after yet another explosive confrontation. Emily had been particularly vicious that day, mocking our mother's tears and throwing a tantrum because she couldn't have her own room. As I sat in my room, head in my hands, I realized something had to change. We couldn't go on like this. I needed to find a solution, not just for my sake, but for my mother and grandmother as well. The next morning, I decided to take action. I called a family meeting hoping to find a way forward. As we gathered in the living room, the tension was palpable. My mother sat with her hands clasped, her eyes red from crying. My grandmother, still weak from her illness, looked at me with a mix of hope and fear. "Emily, we need to talk," I began, trying to keep my voice steady. "This can't go on. We're all suffering, and something needs to change." Emily rolled her eyes, leaning back in her chair. "Oh, here we go again. Another lecture about how everything is my fault." "This isn't a lecture," I said, struggling to keep my composure. "It's a plea. You're hurting us, Emily. Mom is breaking down, and Grandma is sick. We can't keep living like this." For a moment, there was silence. Emily's defiant expression faltered, and I saw a flicker of something, remorse maybe, in her eyes, but it was gone as quickly as it appeared. "I don't see why I should care," she muttered. "You all hate me anyway." My mother's sobs filled the room, and I felt a surge of anger. "We don't hate you, Emily. We love you. That's why this hurts so much. We want to help you, but you have to meet us halfway." Emily stared at me, her expression unreadable. Finally, she spoke, her voice barely above a whisper. "I don't know how to change." It was the first time she had ever admitted something like that, and it gave me a glimmer of hope. "We can get through this together," I said, my voice softening. "But we need to set some ground rules, respect and consideration for each other for a start." Over the next few weeks, we worked hard to rebuild our family dynamics. It wasn't easy. There were still outbursts and moments of tension, but slowly, things began to improve. We sought help from a family therapist who guided us through the process of healing and understanding. Emily started attending therapy sessions on her own, too. She had a lot of unresolved issues that needed addressing, and it was a long road to recovery. But the important thing was, she was trying. We all were. The change didn't happen overnight, and there were setbacks. But for the first time in a long while, there was hope. Emily's 18th birthday came and went, and with it, a sense of cautious optimism. She was learning to control her impulses and understand the impact of her actions on others. As the months passed, our home gradually transformed from a battleground into a place of healing and love. Emily's relationship with our mother and grandmother improved, and so did mine. We were learning to communicate, to listen, and to support each other. One evening, as we sat together watching a movie, Emily turned to me. "I'm sorry for everything, Alex," she said, her voice sincere. "I'm trying to be better." I smiled, feeling a weight lift off my shoulders. "I know you are, Emily, and I'm proud of you." Our journey was far from over, but we were on the right path. For the first time in years, I felt a sense of peace. We had faced our demons together, and we were stronger for it. Life would always have its challenges, but as a family, we could face them together. And that made all the difference.